Marketer Club. I hope everybody can hear me now, and I believe that you all should be able to. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend with us this morning as we talk about how we can use social media to improve trade show results. Before we do that, I want to just cover a little bit of housekeeping business so that everybody gets the opportunity to get full benefit out of our webinar this morning. As I said, my name is Brian Offenberger. I'm the founder of Marketer Club. From many of you that have registered, we've had the opportunity for our paths to cross previously, and I'm very grateful for that. Over the next 45 minutes to an hour, no longer than an hour, I'm going to take you through a very fast-paced, what I hope you'll find to be a very high-impact session about what you can do to have better results at trade shows. You've got the SEMA show, PWA, PRI. You've got a lot of these shows coming up in the last part of our year in our industry. I want to give you full value for your time. That's what I'm going to be trying to do over the next 60 minutes. Now, I'll take questions as well, so if any of you have any questions, there's a little chat window that's in your screen. Please, if you have any technical issues at all, if you have anything at all that you'd like to share with our group, please make sure you do so in that chat window. We'll be monitoring it throughout our webinar. I'll make sure that we get your questions answered, and if you have technical problems, we'll try to help you at all. Now, we may or may not be posting a replay of this session. It's going to depend. I kind of believe in giving those of you that took time out of your day to come live. I think that you guys have an advantage. We'll see what you think. At the end of the session, I'm going to ask you if you'd like us to post a live recorded copy of this webinar. We will do so to make it easier for you. Again, though, we really appreciate you taking time to come to the live session. This is where we get a chance to interact with one another. You get a chance to ask us questions, and we can give you direct feedback. So that's why we like you live. Now, at the end as well, today I'm in a really good mood. At the end of our session, one of you, we're going to give away a custom social media profile, a custom page for your page on Facebook that could help you with your trade show efforts. We'll talk a little bit more about what's involved and what you need to do. It's very simple for you to win. We just want to respect your time and give you a little bonus for being here. So everyone should be seeing my screen now. If you're having any problems at all, please make sure you use the little chat window. We want to make sure that we take care of that for you. So we'll take questions or comments in that chat room, and at the end we'll do our Facebook giveaway. So as a good friend of mine used to say, let's get to the meat of the matter. You know, trade show marketing has changed. To get people to come into our booth today is dramatically different than the way it's been in the past. You know, we used to be able to use things like, press releases, you know, traditional PR outreach. We try to interconnect with the media. We use paid advertising, direct mail, press releases. We might have celebrities and bells and whistles in the booth. And we're using all of these approaches to try to bring our target audience into our trade show booths. And the real reality is that although these things are still effective, the world's really changed. And not so much the world, but the people that we're trying to reach has really changed. We had this thing called the Internet pop along, and also a subset of the Internet, this thing called social networks or social media. And you recognize the logos that are there of some of these social media channels. And now we've also had this thing called a smartphone. And see, I don't know if you guys know this, but I have an ability to look in on what's happening during this webinar. And I know one of you right now is looking at your smartphone even during this call. My point, we take smartphones with us everywhere. We have our iPads, and they've radically changed not only our lives, but also the way we do business. The Internet and the impacts that the Internet has had has just been really phenomenal. And let's talk specifically what kind of impacts the Internet's had as it relates to trade show marketing and exhibitor information. You know, the real reality right now is in the past we used to look to salespeople to give us information about shows, or we'd look at our direct mail advertising. Well, now we go to search engines and we go online. We try to use these online venues to give us this show and exhibitor information that we may have had to get in some other fashion in the past. Now also, and I have print publication friends that are on this call, and they'll tell you that their online channels are very active, and they're working very, very hard to provide information rather than in traditional print formats, where they're using it more in an online version. And this thing called blogs have become phenomenal. There are more people reading blogs than newspapers. And if you don't believe that, or other print publications, and if you don't believe that, take a look at the size and what's happening. You know, my friends on the call from Detroit, all of my friends on the East Coast that are on this call, you know, you just went through a tragic weather event. And I thank the Lord that you're able to be on the call with us today. But you just went through a terrible weather event. And so many of you were getting your updates via text messaging from friends, or going online and reading Facebook and seeing what's happening, or going on blog postings and getting these live news updates at all these media organizations that we're providing. And that's a phenomenal, a normal part of society. And then last, which has been really phenomenal, is social networks. You know, before people are going to take the time to come to your booth, you know, and I want you to think really hard about this. We all want quality prospects when we're at the SEMA show. That's what every one of us wants when we're going there. And the quality, the kind of people that we want, the kind of companies we want to do business with, believe me, they just don't show up in Las Vegas and start wandering the aisles to decide where they're going to go and who they're going to stop in and talk to. I mean, they're going to spend some of that, but they're doing that to look for the neat rides. We know that. They're not there to do it for the booth. You know, the reality is by the time they have already landed, they have a plan. They know who they want to talk to. They know what they want to see. And the way they gather that information before even coming to the show, increasingly, is asking and networking via social channels. They ask friends that they're connected with on Facebook and on LinkedIn. They look for online reviews and recommendations and online conversations. So they use all these different channels in order to be able to do their research prior to even coming to the show. So the principles for trade show success really haven't changed, maybe just some of the ways we go about accomplishing them. We still need to connect with targets, and I'm telling you, you need to connect with your prospects prior to the show. And if you stay with me, I'm going to give you specific ways today, ways you can use Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and some of these other things. And no pie-in-the-sky stuff. I'm a practical guy. We're going to talk about things that all of us can do that's not really that difficult once we have a roadmap. So the more we can connect with people prior to the show, the better. Then we want to interact with them. It's not enough for me to connect, but we need to interact because interaction develops relationships. And I think all of us would agree that the better our relationships are, probably the stronger our business is. Of course, we want to meet the right kind of people at the show. We're going to give you some tips. I'm also going to point you in some other directions so that you can have a full agenda lined up before you even rock into Las Vegas. That'll be really great because last year I was working with someone that was actually scouring the show floor trying to find prospects. And I thought, man, what an ugly way to try to accomplish your business objective at the SEMA show. Wouldn't it be much better to arrive there, have everything lined out, you know who you're going to see and all that, rather than go browbeat people on the show floor to see what kind of business you can drum up? Really tough way. So we want to meet prospects at the show, and we're going to show you a little bit how we can use social media to get ourselves a full agenda before we go. And then last but not least, which is really important, and where we see a lot of people in trade show marketing making a big mistake, is they don't have systems in place to nurture the relationships they develop after the show. You go to Vegas, you meet all these, or you go down to Orlando for PRI, or you come to Phoenix for PWA, and you make these new connections and all this kind of thing. What do you have in place to develop these connections into productive business relationships? You know, it's called lead nurturing. That's the little marketing label that's given to it. We'll talk a little bit about how you can use social media to help you do all that. Now, your peers, what are your peers doing? Well, the Exhibitor Media Group, they polled a recent survey, and you know, social media is something that 3, 4 years ago people weren't talking a lot about, but right now 31% of all respondents of the Exhibitor Media Group study, 31% incorporated social media in some way, shape, or form in their exhibit. some way, shape, or form. We'll talk about how you can do that in yours. 90% of the people that use social media felt that it met or exceeded their expectations. And that's phenomenal. If you can stop and think about any marketing channel that you can use to help you drive business and have 9 out of every 10 people thought that it did well and exceeded expectations, that's pretty darn good. Now, of the people that responded, 32% thought social media had limitless potential, and those were the people that had been smoking the funny stuff. But being practical, social media has very, very strong potential. 58%, the realists of the world, understood it had real potential. And what we're going to walk through here is, again, give you that realistic approach in how you can use social media to drive business results. And a phenomenal 3 out of 4 thought that it increased value. So that's really kind of cool if you think about it. I want to thank you. I'm getting questions coming in on the chat box. I am going to get to them as they fit and are appropriate. My objective is for all of you to get the value out of the call, for all of you to get out of this webinar what you were looking to get. So now, I'm going to start and walk you through 2 different things at this point. One, I'm going to give you some overviews and some action steps, some structural things that will help you use social media successfully at these trade shows. Then, I'm going to segue. I'm going to give you some specific tips, things you can do on Facebook, things you can do on LinkedIn, things you can do on Twitter that will help you with your show marketing. So as we go forward, let's talk about what some of these action steps are. And the first one is going to sound very obvious to everyone here, but it's also something that's very neglected. You know, it's obvious for all of us for our good health that we exercise, yet half the country is fat and overweight, including me. So here's the thing. We want to define our desired outcomes. Before we go to this show, before we really even determine whether we want to exhibit, you know, we're down that path, and all of us on this call now are people that are in that venue. But what is success? When we go to the SEMA show and we're in that airplane on the way home, what do we consider to be success? And we want meaningful specifics. I don't want, oh, I want a lot of booth traffic. I want something that says we have 700 people through our booth a day, or 1,000, or depending upon what your goals are and your measurements are. You want to define them. You want them measurable so we can measure them. I don't want people's opinions or subjective things. You need to know, for your benefit of your business, what is your measurement tools, and then you need to get that third element, and when are we looking? When are we measuring? Are we measuring by the hour? Are we measuring by the day? Do we just look at our total results when we come back? How do we do that? In that little process of defining what your desired outcomes are, it's amazing. You know, you're much more likely to get a good outcome if you have a defined target that you're trying to hit, right? You know, they run a race on NASCAR with a finish line for a reason. That's the goal. That's how you measure success, and you want to do the same for your business. Now let's move into another area, and again, a fundamental area, but my second step or tip for your action plan is to make sure you clearly know who your target market is, because that's going to drive a whole lot of what you're going to do in your social media and even your traditional marketing efforts. Okay? Let me give you an example. We're working with a company for the SEMA show that really works in a 20-state area. That's what they do. So for them to have dealers coming in from California, and that's where they sell, it really doesn't do them a lot of good because they don't deliver there. So also, you know, you want to define what your market is, your vertical, either by vertical or demographic characteristics. And then within each of those, you have personalities, right? So let's say, as an example, I'm trying to reach truck accessory dealers, okay? Places like, and again, I don't even know if you're on this call, but Seth at Chuck's Trucks or Charlie Card at Vehicle Accessories. Let's say I wanted to sell to somebody like that. Well, within those businesses, there are different people. There's the owner. There are store managers. There are other people that will impact the buying process or my target market. We call those in marketing personas. And what we want to do as business people is we want to sit and identify, what are these personas? Who are they? We want to write them down, and we kind of want to be specific. The reason we do that is you talk to different people different ways, don't you? What's important to the business owner may be entirely different to a store manager for one of Charlie's stores. So we want to understand that. The more we understand about these personalities or these personas, the better we're going to be able to interact with them and deal with them. Okay? Now my next step. So we've gone through, we've defined what kind of outcomes we want from a show. We want to be clear on our target market. I'm sorry, one of my colleagues, Greg, is on this call right now. Greg, can you mute your phone? We're hearing some background noise on your end, please.
Sure.
That would be great. Our point, join existing conversations. You've got a lot of existing conversations that are going on right now on social networks and social channels. There's conversations, believe it or not, today that are happening on Twitter and Facebook and within LinkedIn and all these places that are going on about the show, okay? And these conversations that are taking place, you want to start to listen. There's conversations that are happening about your company or your products or our industry. And what you want to do, I'm giving you a couple of free tools right now. You can use Google Alerts, or you can use another tool called socialmention.com. In fact, if I were you, I'd use both. And you want to understand this little search engine concept. Please, this is important. Write it down. It's called broad match, phrase match, and exact match. And if you don't understand what they are, just Google search and you'll get the answers. What you want to do with Google Alerts or Social Mention is you want to go in and you want to enter search terms, keyword phrases, your business name, maybe key executives, maybe your competitors' names, maybe certain issues, you know, gas price increases. If that impacts your business, maybe you want to do those kinds of things. And these free tools scour the Internet. And anything that's been put on the Internet that's searchable, that they can find, it's not hidden, which is a whole heck of a lot. It will blow your mind. I'm giving you really neat free options here. It will tell you about. And you want to listen to what kinds of conversations are going on. You want to do that for two things. So lots of reasons. It'll tell you who your influencers are, who your potential customers are, what issues are being discussed. And it will tell you also what channels, what social channels content is coming from or where these conversations originate. And that'll help you determine where you want to play around in social media. And I'm going to tie that all together for you in just a second. It's really neat stuff. So I want to define what my outcomes are of the show. I want to make sure I know who my target market is. I want to join these existing conversations. After I do that, I want to determine what kind of social media channels that I need to be marketing in. Where is my audience? What are their issues? And what can I support well? Let me give you an example. I may have potential on Facebook, and I may find using YouTube could help me, and I may think using LinkedIn can help me, and the SEMA and the social networking within the SEMA website and its platform, I might decide all of those can help me. But, I may only have time and resources to do one. So here's my point. You know, you don't need to be everything to all people. Pick one of these that you can do well and begin to interact and network. And again, I'm going to give you some specific ways to do that in just a few minutes. So after you know what conversations are going on and you're listening and you know where they stem from, then your next step is to determine what social channels you really want to kind of market to. So from there, after I've done that, I want to make sure first that I've got my profile, that I own my name on all these different social networks. And there's a lot. And fortunately, everyone, there's a free tool, that word I love, free. There's a free tool that allows me to go and check what's going on. And that's, you see right here on the slide, it's namecheck.com. I can key in what kind of name that I'd like to use on my social media profile, and it will let me know that it's available. And it also gives me shortcuts to sign-ups for these different social networks, which is really, really, really cool. It makes life very, very easy. Then all of these social profiles, Facebook has a little info section. If you create a business page on LinkedIn, they want you to give a description of your business. And even your own personal profiles that you use. You want to use within your written description keywords that your customers may use to find you. Let me repeat that. You want to use keywords that customers may use to find you. Because social networks right now, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of that, I want you to kind of think of them as big search engines, because they are going to continue to evolve more and more in that way, and you want to optimize your profile. How many of you have been on Facebook? I'm going to tell a really, really personal story. I just turned 50, okay? And believe it or not, the day I turned 50 was the very first day there was an ad from ARP on my Facebook page. Now stop chuckling. I know that kind of stuff has happened to you guys. And where does that come from? It comes from personalization. And you want to use that to your advantage, okay? So make sure that your profiles use keywords that are within the descriptive areas of your profiles so that people can find you easier. Plus, it gives you more credibility. If you tell me you sell truck accessories and I go to your page on Facebook and there's no mention of it at all, well, I might not believe you that much, okay? And then last, you want to customize these profiles. What you're looking here is at Toyota Parts Center. It's a customized welcome page. If you go to their site on Facebook, go to their page on Facebook, and if you aren't already liking it, if you're not already following it, you're going to get that graphic you see to your right there. And that's their welcome page. And very clearly it lets you know when you come there you're different, because it looks totally different than everybody else's, doesn't it? And I know some of you have seen these, and some of you may even have them. We encourage you to use these customized profiles and wherever you can. And something like what you see for Toyota Parts Center right there, we're going to give that away to one of you on this call. So at the end of the call, I'm going to explain how you can win it. It's easy. It's free. It's free. It'll take you less than 3 seconds. And we'll show you how to do that. But this customization is really, really important. So claiming your social profiles and completing them, you want to make sure is your next step. Now, I've defined outcomes. I've got my target market. I've been listening to what's going on online, and I've determined these social channels. I've got my profiles. Now, I'm on Facebook, and I'm on LinkedIn, and I'm on YouTube, and I need to know, what do I say? And I'll tell you what, my friends, the majority of the people in our industry that we speak with, they struggle over, what do I put on that Facebook page tomorrow? And what do I post on LinkedIn tomorrow? And what do I do with YouTube? And what we believe in is making a content plan, planning it all out in advance. Because if something happens like Hurricane Irene and I want to post something on it on Facebook today, I can. All right? That's very easy. That's not hard. But to plan my business and to plan my approach, I want to plan my content. And what we use is what's called content calendars. These are very generic, but it just tells us that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, in this example that you see, we're going to post something on the blog. Well, we break them down even more specific. We plan in advance. Generally, it depends on who we're doing it for. But for our business, we plan by year. We plan a year in advance because, again, it's very easy to change and modify, but we have objectives in our business, don't you guys? And so you plan a quarterly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, whatever, but you start to develop your content plan. And we think that's a vital, vital step for success with social media. My good friend George C. Scott there playing General Patton. You know, for success with social media during this show period, you've got what now roughly, and I know somebody's going to send me an email and call me on it, what is it, 9 weeks to the SEMA show? Not too much further for a lot of activity, you know, PWA in September. Now's the time to make sure that you're doing your social media. And within your organization, you want to make sure that you have somebody in charge. And I really want to make that and point that out during the SEMA show, because I know some of you that are on this call are real large, and you're going to have 15 or 20 people at the show working your booth and doing all sorts of stuff. And you're going to give them, they're going to have their phones, and they're going to take pictures and video and all of that. Make sure someone is there coordinating it. If not, you could have a real challenge, okay? You don't want 18 items of content being posted on your Facebook page all within 5 minutes. At least I don't think you do. So Make sure you have someone in charge that you designate to handle your social media efforts internally before, during, and after the show. And again, I'm going to give you in just a minute some specific ways to do it. All right, let's kind of summarize and recap where we're at so far. We've taken these action steps. Before we go to the show, we're going to define what is success. What is the successful outcome for us? We know clearly who our target market is. We've been using tools and listening to what's happening online and where these conversations stem from. Man, oh man, we've claimed our social profiles. We've got our social media stuff set up. We've got our content plan. We've got someone in charge. And here's the next step, my friends. You better work your plan in order to have success. I know I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but planning without action is simply wasted effort. Don't be like our buddy on the left. It's not time to kick the shoes up. It's time to go to work and put things in place. And like anything else, you know, I tell everybody in this industry, why, when you go to a racetrack, is there a stopwatch in someone's hand, and why do they test? Why do they test different tires, tire pressures, setups? Why do they do all of that? Well, they're measuring impact so that they can do things better and more efficiently or to go faster, right? And you want to do the same. So your action plan better include measuring your impact so that you become more effective. And for all of you, it may be different. Some of you, if you're like CAMS as an example, it has huge booth and lots of people that are displaying and interacting in that booth and all of that. You know, you may be monitoring your booth count by hour. You may be monitoring your social media, you know, by half-day increments, every day. Again, you're going to have different needs than somebody that might be in a little bit different situation than 3 or 4 people that are going, or even 2. You know, we're taking on our company. I believe we're going to have 3 to 4 people from our company at the SEMA show. We're going to be small there. Yet each of us are going to be meeting and generating social media content while we're there. And what we'll be doing, we'll be meeting every day in the morning to make sure that we have outlined what we're hoping to accomplish. We're going to meet right in the evening to make sure it was all done and to start to get it publicized, and then we're going to go about our business. So we want to measure our impacts. We'll see how people are reacting to our content. We'll look at how people are interacting with our Facebook page and our website every day. It's simple and easy to do as long as you have a plan, okay? All right, now let's start going through these specific social media channels. Thanks again. I've tried to answer questions as we've gone along. Thank you for asking. Everyone's staying with us. That's good news as well. So let's talk about how we can use some specific channels for different things. Before I do that, let's make sure, one, on your website that you put together an online press kit, okay? An online press kit. Many of you interact with media at the SEMA show, and many of you have an objective to do so. So your goal is to make that job for that people as easy as possible. And the days of them carrying back all of your literature and all of your brochures and all of that kind of stuff is over, all right? So make it easy for them. Online press kit, these are the kinds of things that you should be including in that online press kit. Again, I want to define one thing. What we refer to as backgrounders, and I'm going to circle here with the mouse so that you can see it. These are profiles, company history, markets that are served, key executive profiles, how to connect with executives on LinkedIn, whatever you may want to offer. That's what we here internally refer to as backgrounders. That online press kit, my friends, it's very, very valuable. It's worth your weight in gold, especially if you do a lot of trade shows. Okay? Everybody, you've seen these little things. This is called a QR code, and I'm going to tell you, if you use the live copies of this site or this is an actual working QR code to take you to our website at aftermarketerclub.com. We've just redone it as well, so if you have any comments for us, let us know. But a QR code is phenomenal. And what people can do with these is take their smartphone, capture an image of this QR code, and it will be taking them to online content. Now, if I'm an exhibitor, I'm going to have a QR code available for visitors of my booth I'm going to have one for press to go to my press kit. I might run QR codes on my booth where you can win a prize or access more product information or see videos or something, because it's an interactive measure. We believe QR codes are phenomenal. We have customers that are using these QR codes on shipping, on packaging that they're shipping things with, and you're seeing them now everywhere, on packs of gum, everywhere. Walking billboards. You know, we were in New York City a couple of weeks ago, and a few, not as many as should, but a few restaurants outside had these QR codes, and you could pop them, and you could see restaurant reviews, and you could see the menu and all sorts of neat stuff. So QR codes within your booth and your show marketing materials, all of those things are neat ways to keep people interacting with you. And the more you get them interacting with you, the better off you're going to be. Now, again, we talked with you about the show with social networks. And again, I'm going to give you some tips right here in just a minute by network. But beforehand, you want to engage with others, you know, before this show. And how do you do that? Well, we want to give you some tips. It's not about you. Don't go in there. Don't join a group on LinkedIn and then put an ad for your company, or, hey, I'm at SEMA booth number 92, 59, 23, 72, 89, hut, hut, hut. You know, people don't care about that. I'm going to pay attention to you on LinkedIn if you're going to give me some information of value. And if you give me some information of value and I think you know your head from your rear end, and I happen to need what you want, then I'm going to call you because I'm going to respect you as an authority figure and as someone that knows what they're doing. Or if I'm a manufacturer looking for new dealers, I'm going to start to talk to those dealers about the everyday problems that they have in running their businesses, and hopefully do it in such a way that's relevant, that builds my credibility, and allows them to see how I might help them as a business partner earn more money. Those are the things within social networks and social media that will get you attention. We recommend working within group frameworks first. There are ways you can use LinkedIn and identify individuals, but it's easier, especially over a 3-4 week period, to establish credibility within groups that your people belong to. Do that first. You know, there's a SEMA group as an example on LinkedIn, as I'm sure all of you are aware of. There's a SEMA Facebook page. Those might be ways that you start to provide value first there, then reach out to individual people that you may have on your target list. And of course, courtesy and respect really goes a long way in the world. All of us, no matter what it is we do, I guarantee you, every single one of you on this call, in order for your businesses to grow and thrive, we all need qualified prospects, every one of us. So if I approach you and say, Harry, you and I both need people to work with, I think I might be able to help you. We've been interacting on LinkedIn. Are you open to taking a look at something? You know, if we do that with respect, and I know that was very clumsy and all of you can critique that, but if we take a respectful approach, it really helps us in how we interact with people. All right, let's go through some of these specific channels. Let's say Twitter. You know, we all hear about Twitter. How might I use Twitter to help me at the SEMA show? To help me drive attendance both before so I can get preset appointments and after? Well, one, there are industry influencers, and it's pretty easy on Twitter by people's profiles. I can go in and find out who's doing what pretty quickly. If I want to find out who identifies them as members of SEMA in their profile, I can do so. I can find characteristics within their profile. Then I can start to follow them, and I can find out who's more active than others. Those are my influencers. I think you'd agree. You know, just if you follow any social networks, you're going to know there are more people that are active than the others. So I can kind of narrow my target market down as well. If I only want to deal with SEMA members in a 20-state area, I can do that. I can start to interact with people. Now, what is Twitter very good for? Well, Twitter's really good for promoting events. It's fabulous for doing that. So for you to be pushing out content talking about new products that you're going to be releasing, speakers or guests that might be at your booth, special content or offers that you may be doing, if you're hosting after-hours or customer-only invitation events, all of those kinds of things are really, really neat to be talking and pushing out through Twitter. Twitter's fabulous for updating people throughout the show. And you'll see probably in the next 3, 4, 5 years it's going to go nuts. You'll be at the SEMA show and you'll be following Twitter to find out where to go, who's at what place, what education events and speakers are doing well that you may want to attend. You're going to get all that live as it unfolds. And this year will be no exception. You're going to have abilities to update attendees as to activities, actions, what you're doing, where you're going, who you've been interacting with, neat things you've seen. All these things help you, A, become a resource for your audience, helps reinforce that you're an authority, and again, really gives you the ability to interact and reach show followers. Now, right now is the time to be thinking about hashtags. You use Twitter, you know what hashtags are all about. If you don't, Google search the topic. All right? You want to set up your hashtags that you're going to be using for the show. You also want to make sure that you have an inventory or a library of hashtags related to the show. Kind of simple, kind of obvious. And as you can see, hashtag SEMA, hashtag SEMA show, you know, and you do the same thing, your company, maybe your booth number, maybe your company service department, whatever it may be, but create your hashtags and identify them so you can do live tweeting while you're there. And that could be really phenomenal for you, okay? LinkedIn, depending on what you do in this industry, can be fabulous for you, especially if you're a B2B seller. You know, it's really easy to go in. LinkedIn is the business-to-business network, social network. It is the numero uno, the big dog. And what we want to make sure that we do, one, the neat thing within LinkedIn is I can go in and I can identify industries and job titles pretty quickly. LinkedIn allows us to create an event. So if I'm exhibiting at the SEMA show, I'm going to set up an event relating around my exhibit in my booth at that show or at PRI or wherever it might be. I'm going to set that up as a LinkedIn event. It allows me to promote that event to people in my network, and it gives very, very easy sharing functions for my network to share them with their people and their connections. So you can get a lot of viral impact by simply going in and creating an event. You want to encourage response. You're going to update your status. You're going to encourage your audience that is on LinkedIn that if they're going to be coming by your booth to indicate so, because every time if I indicate that I'm going to come to your event, well, that gives another validity to the importance of your event. It will help, you know, in those weekly updates that LinkedIn sends out. You guys all get an update in your LinkedIn network, and here's what's happening on your areas of interest within LinkedIn once a week. It will help you appear in those kinds of things. It's very easy ways to get some publicity. The in-mail function can be a very neat way for you to connect via LinkedIn prior to the show. Again, I can't spend the time to give you all the detail about how you use in-mail. I will tell you that LinkedIn has nice tutorials on it. So my answer to everything, Google it. Google LinkedIn in-mail, and it will show you how you can connect with people that way. Update your status on LinkedIn. I recommend, especially the 4 weeks before the show, that you're updating your LinkedIn status 2 or 3 times a week. You may find it, again, you want to speak relevantly. Our goal is not to put garbage up there that no one or people ignore or don't pay attention to. But you may also find that you're going to update your status maybe a little bit more frequently, even during the week while you're at the show, and maybe a little bit more when you came back. Facebook, how can I use Facebook? Well, again, you have most of us that are on this call, we have 2 different ways that we can do things. 1, we have our business pages, and 2, we have our connections personally. And I know a lot of you, a fair amount of you that are on this call, I'm connected with you personally on my Facebook page. And so we have opportunities. We can go create a Facebook event. And you've all seen those events. You see the capsule here. I'm going to circle right now using my mouse. You see it right here. We created an event in Facebook. And if you were connected to us or to anybody that shared that event, you could have seen that on your Facebook page. And again, you can do the same thing for your booth and any of the activities that you're there. You definitely want to set them up as events within your Facebook framework It will spread the news pretty quickly. I think it goes without saying, post on your wall. Talk about what you're going to be doing on the show. I'm going to be sharing with you some content tips in just a few seconds, you know, what you might want to do and talk about and all this stuff. But post on your wall. Talk about products and what's going on, what you're doing at the show, who you're seeing, how the traffic is, what people are interested in. Now, within Facebook, as I've already told you, there's a SEMA group, and there are other groups that are relevant. So if you put out good content, let's say you're putting out a case study, or you're putting out updated product information, if it's relevant to other groups, by all means, promote it within the groups you belong within Facebook, without a doubt. Make sure you encourage sharing, and one of the ways to do that is simply ask. It's amazing. There's a neat little study that was just done by a man named Dan Zarella, and Dan's little study said simply asking people, hey, share this with people you think this might be important to. Simply by asking that encourages people, and it will get you higher sharing rates. So make sure that you ask in your Facebook updates. Many of you may want to encourage people that stop by your booth to put something on your Facebook wall while they're there. That will help build your authority within Facebook. That will help generate more buzz for you. It will help your message reach more. You may even want to offer an incentive for them to do that. You may say, and we used our friends from Air Raid, this is an ad they had done a while ago that did fairly well for them. You know, you might want to encourage, hey, post on our Facebook page, and once a day we're going to give away an iPad or free product, or post on our Facebook page and 10 lucky winners will get a free hat. So you can do those kinds of things daily. It gives you lots of buzz and a lot of interaction. And some of you may find that Facebook's targeted advertising option will help you drive traffic to your booth. Again, there are strategies, there are tactics about making Facebook advertising work well for you. I promise on a future webinar, we're going to cover that topic. We don't have enough time to dive deep into how you set up and structure and what your messaging should be. I just want you to know Facebook targeted advertising could be a heck of an option to help you drive success at the SEMA show and other trade shows that you work at. YouTube, one of my favorites because it's easy, and you're going to find lots of YouTube content coming out from Aftermarketer Club in the upcoming weeks. Lots. Now YouTube, they allow you to use an event date module, and that will help put content and promote your event date within the YouTube framework, which, by the way, is the second most popular search engine right behind Google today. That events date module, again, you can research on how to make it work for your company, but within YouTube, it will allow you to promote your trade show presence, your booth numbers, your event dates, basic information. Now, what do? You want to create some video around your show content. You might do product previews. You might do introduce people that are going to be at your booth so that they can start to get to know people that are there, you know, a whole variety of different content items. I'm going to make a shameless plug for our blog. If you go to aftermarketerclub.com/blog, again, sign up to get our updates coming to you free. We're going to have lots of stuff over the next 8 weeks about what kind of video you can create at the SEMA show and how you can use it. And I'm going to tell you what, a lot of what we're going to be doing on our company will be creating content that we're going to use for marketing next year's SEMA show. So again, keep those tips in mind. So go to your website. Make sure your website's optimized for these trade shows that you're going to. Make sure they link to your social profiles. Make sure people from your website can get to your Facebook page and your LinkedIn page and YouTube and all these things that you may be doing. And see, you caught an error in my slides right now. I'm using the wrong slide version. We do buy our slides. We're not cheap enough to rip them off from a photo service. I apologize for that. You want to link to social profiles. Next point that we have is an event pop-up, and that event pop-up You've seen them on pages, you know. Somebody comes to your website during the time that you're promoting your trade show, you may have a little pop-up. Register to come see us at the SEMA show. We're in booth number 2934, whatever the number might be, and then simply tell them from all people that pre-register you're going to win or get or what have you. And give them an event pop-up so that they can register there. Make sure that your website has a registration form for them to schedule an appointment with you prior to the show. We have a beautiful posting on our blog about doing that. Wouldn't it be great if you went to the SEMA show and all of the business that you needed to conduct there, you had a lot of it pre-scheduled? It'd be fabulous. And then you might want to embed a live Twitter feed or even video on your website during the course of the show that you're at, again, to help you create more buzz and more rankings. There'll be lots of people that will be searching SEMA while the show's going on, even prior to and immediately after. Lots. And it's amazing what kind of business opportunities you can generate from that. Now, we call integrate, and what we mean by integrate is we want you to do things like show your hashtags and your social media links on the signature lines of your email, maybe on your invoicing and shipping documents. Anywhere that you're giving collateral of some shape, boxes, anything that you're doing collateral of some way, shape, or form, it would help you to put your related show hashtags that you're going to and your social media links everywhere. So if I'm going to SEMA, I'm going to promote that in my signature line, and then if I'm going to PRI in December, I'm going to change my signature line to promote relevant social media things relating to that show. Okay? Number two, you might encourage people what to say. You've all seen tweet this phrase to your audience and you could win. Well, that's an example of telling people what to say. And right now, you know, it might say, I stopped by CompCam's booth and saw, as an example, and people tweet that out, and then you may offer some sort of a reward. As you know, in working with me and being on my stuff, we call them ethical bribes. That's some sort of incentive for somebody to do something, but it's a neat possibility for you to consider to get your message out in buzz, okay? All right. Now let's talk about generating pre-show buzz. What am I going to do to get people talking about me and interacting with me and doing all this kind of stuff before the SEMA show? What am I going to do? Well, I want to interact with trade media and registered exhibitors. And all of you know how to get that information. If you don't, drop me an email line, but SEMA makes it pretty available to you. And I want to use tweets and blogs and LinkedIn groups and maybe even Facebook to interact with them, okay? I want to be doing that. And I want to be getting on it. You know, I should be doing that fairly extensively beginning about mid-September. Now, I know all of you, your businesses may vary, and some of you may challenge me on that. This is not an exact science, but for us and for most of the people we're working with, it's really big that we start doing that then. Then I'm going to start pre-show videos, you know, and you want to start them. And as I already told you, products and personalities are very, very good for you. Here's what we're going to be showing. Here's how it works. Here's how it's made. Here's who you can see at the SEMA show. You know, here's who we are, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to use Facebook and Twitter posts about products and speakers and any show events that I'm doing. Obviously, contests or incentives or special offers will help you generate pre-show buzz. And then last on my list, you know, stories. People love stories that are put together well, that are well crafted. You have lots of opportunities to tell stories about your people. You know, for all we know, you have an amputee in your office that is in the Special Olympics. And an award winner or what have you. You know, there's human interest stories. There's stories about your people, about your products, and maybe even your history. Things, though, that are packaged in compelling ways, okay? We all have this vision of going to say, you know, the worst thing, I'm going to date myself here a little bit, but remember 10, 15 years ago when people would go on vacation and they'd say, come on over and I'll show you my vacation photos. Well, 99 times out of 100, that's just pure drudgery. No one wants that. What we want, though, is compelling stuff. You know, If you say, come on over and see the video of where I almost got eaten by a crocodile, hey, that's a little bit different than saying, come on over and see my vacation photos. You know what I mean? And that's what you want to do as well in your efforts. Okay, lots of pre-show buzz tips that you can use. Now, I promised every one of you that were on this call that I would give you a checklist that you could use to help you prepare for the show, get your social media stuff in line. And we've kind of done this in this written form, but we do have a checklist, and we're happy to send that out to you tomorrow. So I want to let you know that every single one of you that are on this call today is going to get that checklist. I also want to let you know that every one of you that's on this call, as I said, you have a chance to win a free, let me back this up, you have a chance to win a free customized Facebook page. And the way I'm going to do that is this. Please, I'm going to post it in just a minute, but I'll give it to you now. My email is Brian, B-R-I-A-N, at aftermarketerclub.com. If you are the 17th email that I receive, email number 17, you have won a customized Facebook page. My team will work with you to gather the information we need. We will develop the design concepts. We will give you our complete, non-stripped down Facebook welcome page package, as well as a half-an-hour consulting time to help you with Facebook, absolutely free. That's to the 17th email I get at brian@aftermarketerclub.com. That's B-R-I-A-N. Now, you'll see, here are some specific resources that will help you if you want to do more reading on driving trade show results. First, you'll see our blog. We're doing lots of work on our blog in the next 2 months to give you tips relating to the SEMA show. For those that don't exhibit, we're going to give you tips on how to make the show a success for you as well. But for exhibitors, you're going to see how to pre-schedule appointments, ways to cut show marketing costs, exhibitor best practices. Skyline Exhibitions came in and gave us a beautiful posting, and we also have some top travel apps that will help you out as well. And man, we have some neat stuff coming in the next 2 months, so I really encourage you, follow our blog. Now, we've had lots of questions that came in during this session, and as I look through them, I think we've answered most of them. What I want to do is to make sure you see my contact information. It's on the screen right now. This is how you can reach me either by phone or email. Generally, email is the best, and if you want to talk, we can set up an appointment. I'm happy to do so. That's the best way you can get a hold of me. And I believe, as I said, I've answered all questions, but just in case I haven't, if any of you have any questions, would you please, we'll take a second here and enter them into the chat window. And while we're doing that, my East Coast friends, I'm glad you're all well. It was a terrible thing that you all went through. I want to thank everybody for being on this webinar today. I value your time. We're all very busy and have a lot of things that we do in the world. My objective when you come to our webinars is for you to get quality information that you can go use right away, and we strive really hard to do that. Easy ways to stay connected with us and with me personally. LinkedIn, you can find Brian Offenberger. You'll find our company, Aftermarketer Club. You'll find us on Facebook. And again, I've talked to you a lot about our blog. If you think that we might be able to help you or you'd like to find out, give us a call. Myself or Kelly Koff, who many of you know, will be happy to talk to you. If we can help you, we'd be happy to show you how. If we can't, maybe we'll steer you to someone that can. Your feedback's really important to us. It's really neat. We did not have one person that showed up on this call leave early, not one. And it's really kind of cool when that happens. And the way that happens is we get your feedback. So post it on our Facebook page or email me. Tell me what we did well. Tell me what we can improve on. Because, my friends, we're going to offer you the opportunity in September to come back for more information in a webinar format. Again, things that we think will help you and will provide you the value you need. So I believe we've answered everybody's questions. I've covered what I want to share with you. I appreciate and value the time. Thank you very much. I hope to see you at the SEMA show. Let's make that happen. You have my contact information. With that, again, thank you for your time. I wish you a great day and a great rest of the week. Goodbye, all.